for some people worrying if our students don't get visas, we aren't actually seeing that at this moment. Charity, anything to add on just loans and how that may affect?
So I think this is a couple of things. One, I have seen sort of chatter around where a lot of students think you can't talk about it if you get a loan. Getting loans is a very normal thing. I have 3 degrees and I took out loans for 2 of them. So officers they're not going to think that it's a problem if you have a loan. The importance is that you already have the loan, as opposed to saying, well, I plan to get one, because then you might not be able to get the loan, right? So you have it in place. The other thing is this is just a good example of being cautious about things you see on the internet, right? Chat boards, whether it's Reddit or TikTok or other places, is full of advice about applying for a visa, what to say, what not to say, what never to say. And in my experience, most of that advice is not helpful. And the reason for it is because everybody's case is a little bit different. And so what works for one person or didn't work for them might be very different for you based on your circumstances. And this is really important to understand, that officers want to hear your story. Why this education, why you're taking out a loan. I've talked to student visa applicants who took out loans because they had plenty of income, but they wanted to save their savings for after school. And so they took out a loan. Others who took out a loan because it was the only way they could pay for school. Well, that reason could be very different for one person or another. Probably every person on this call has a very different answer to the question of why they're getting this education, how they're going to pay for it, and things like that. And so that advice that's out there, I think most of it is meant to be helpful, but it can actually make it harder to qualify for the visa. So trust in yourself and your own story. And loans are just fine.
And avoid at all costs repeating what someone else said in an interview or like memorizing answers. Americans are very preferential towards an authentic style. So if any American kind of thinks you're regurgitating something in any scenario, it's generally not viewed favorably. In an interview setting, absolutely not. So just keep that in mind, that the expectation is your own words. If someone thinks you're memorizing items, that's a really poor sign, I think, generally, whether it's a job interview or something like this. It's just a general.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that, because keep in mind, the officers, they can hear that it sounds memorized. It doesn't sound like the way that you would talk with your friends or family. And they don't know if it sounds memorized because you just want to be really sure that you are telling the officer everything, or if you're not being genuine in what you're saying. And if they can't tell, they're not going to approve, because they don't want to take the chance that the person is not telling them the truth about their plans.